With a valuation of $50 billion, software giant TCS has emerged as the most valuable brand in the country for the third straight year. Now, this is according to Kantar's annual BrandZ Report. To explore the brand rankings for this year and what exactly are the factors that are driving the valuations, I'm joined by Deepender Rana from Kantar to discuss this. Thank you, Deepender, for the time. I would like to understand what are the rankings and if you can highlight the top 10 brands that has made it to the list this year.
Sure. So the rankings essentially represent the intangible equity, right, and the value attached to that brands have been able to build. And great news for India. I mean, Indian top 75 brands in India are up 19%. So that just is in line with the rise of India overall, and very much comparable to the global increase of 20%. So Indian brands have done well, and especially the ones who have invested in equity, who have invested in growing the consumer desire and their demand power. They're the ones who have grown faster than others. So the brands that are doing much better are the ones who have actually ridden the trends, they're driving the trends, they're building meaningful connections with consumers, and then they're able to capitalize on that at the point of sale as well. If I look at the top 10 brands, it's a very diverse list. I mean, obviously, where Indian brands are world-class is in the area of B2B tech, and that's where you see TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech. I mean, they feature there. Obviously, some of the strong financial sector brands, and then the giants in the area of telecom like Airtel and Jio. So those are the brands that feature in the top 10.
Okay. And also every year we do see a list of new brands that make it to the list. So which are those new brands that have made it to Kantar's top 10 most valuable brands this year?
Right. Again, they're from a diverse set of sectors, but I think what unites them is this nature of being aspirational. So if you look at India, we've been talking about the K-shaped growth, and people are willing to spend money. Consumers are willing to even pay a premium for brands that are in the aspirational sector, which enable them to fulfill new experiences. So these brands include Make My Trip and Indigo, which are in travel. So for the first time, a lot of Indians are flying and traveling, and these brands have made that possible. There are real estate brands, especially on the premium end, that has been growing. Automotive sector has grown a lot, again, because there's been premiumization in the sector with SUVs selling faster than mass-end brands. So those brands feature there. And then some of the traditional sectors like jewelry, those are becoming branded now. So you see some of the jewelry brands beginning to feature in the top 10 list as well. So it's a mix of, I think, changes in India, but also the disruption caused by technology, which is making the new entrants, shake the status quo.
Absolutely. But, one sector that is making a lot of noise is quick commerce. Have we seen any new brands, or maybe Zomato or Swiggy, doing exceptionally in this particular year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Zomato is an absolute standout. It's grown 100%. So it's actually I think it's the fastest growing brand in the top 75. And, they've done so many things that are right. I mean, they are expanding the occasions of consumption. For the first time, at any given moment, you want something, it's, within reach. And in that sense, they are creating new consumption that didn't exist there before, right? They've also done a very good job of growing in new spaces. They've gone to third and fourth tier cities. The other thing we see is the consumer desire for Zomato is mashed up by their ability and able to activate. So that's where they've used technology a lot, like real-time tracking or updating of menus in line with their empaneled restaurants, updating their menus. So they're getting a lot of things right, I think, across the board, which is helping them to grow faster.
All right. Deepinder, you have briefly touched upon it, but I would like to know a little bit more about what are the key factors that would help brands make a meaningful difference, not just to the consumers, but also when it comes to the stock exchanges.
Right? No, these two are actually the same. That's where we come at it, because what makes you valuable to consumers, especially in terms of brand equity, is what will drive long-term financial value. So we look at especially two key drivers, like you said, meaning and difference. So meaning, what does meaning mean? Means, fulfilling needs, but doing it in a way which is kind of warm. Right? What I mean by that is fulfill the functional needs, but also do something which makes you a brand that is loved, which stands for certain emotions, right? And bonding. So that is one part of it. The second part is difference. How do you stand out from others? How are you seen as driving trends? And when you do these two things right, you grow your volume, but more importantly, you're able to charge a premium. And difference is a key driver of being able to charge a premium. So obviously, the moment you charge a premium, it magnifies itself in terms of profitability, and that's what the stock market rewards you for, both volume growth and then exceptional profit growth. And that's why there's a linkage between the two. So if I look at brands that grew both meaning and difference, they grew at 27%. Their brand value, as in financial valuation and stock market prices, went up by 27%, as opposed to overall increase of 19% for the top 75 brands. So you can see how within this set of strong brands, some brands do better because they're able to build great equity.
Mm-hmm. Got it. But what has been the combined value of brands, for the combined valuations rather, for the most valuable, for the top 75 brands?
So this year we are at $450 billion, which is almost 20% up from last year. So increment of $100 billion over the last 1 year. So it's obviously I would say, significant contributor to the overall economy, because it's not just about producing stuff, not just making in India, but like kind of creating in India and capturing the intangible value that comes from great brands.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I'm sure there must be multiple challenges also that the brands need to overcome. So what are those challenges that they need to work upon in order to stay relevant to the consumers and again to the stock markets?
Yeah. So one is obviously the rise of cohorts like Generation Z and now Generation Alpha coming up. They're digital first, they're tech savvy, right? And you need to stay ahead of the curve to be able to continuously refresh yourself. If you're a legacy, so-called legacy brand, how do you stay fresh and relevant for these consumers to be able to continue to grow, right? So that's one challenge coming up for brands. Obviously, the second challenge is in some sectors like packaged goods, uh, consumption growth has slowed down. Mm-hmm. So if you look at volume growth, especially, that has slowed down because of inflation. So some parts of the economy are truly impacted, and then it's all about how do you deliver value to that value conscious consumer and continue to succeed.
All right, and going forward, where do you see, what is your projections when it comes to valuations? Where do you see it heading?
So look, as far as financial valuations go, arguably there is some froth in India, but as far as brand equity is concerned, the strong brands will still stand out and will still grow faster than others. And I think that's where there is a need to continue investing in building strong equity and creating consumer desire, making sure that you're always accessible at the point of purchase or at the point where decisions are being made. And if you're a large brand and you're very well established, then it's all about finding new sources of growth, right? So even large brands, they might have geographical pockets. I mean, India is like a continent, it's a subcontinent. and even some of the large national brands are not
Absolutely.
uniformly
Yeah.
strong across India. So there are always consumer cohorts, there are regions, there are new ways of looking at categories to keep expanding consumption and continue to grow.
Right. I think this is a space that we will be keeping an eye out for. And Deepender, thank you for your time once again for speaking to us at NDTV Profit.